Today, I'm very curious at least to see what we can learn from lean thinking in product development. So please, the floor is yours.
Okay. So good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to this session today. And first of all, I'm really thankful to everybody who has come from this for this session to join me today. And today we have gathered here to talk about the second generation of lean product development. What are the key features of it? What are the key principles on which this should work? So we go through the presentation with a handful of examples of the situations we currently face, and how can the different principles of lean product development help us there. So first and foremost question, why lean? What is it there? Why we are talking about lean? Human nature is that we really follow the successes, and we have seen lean as a part of manufacturing for running now for almost 50 to 60 years, and it has been quite successful. And so we think that, okay, it has really brought a complete change in mindset. Maybe there's something good in it, so why not really try it for product development? And to a large extent, we are right. It helps us really doing our product development better. We'll see how. Another question. What do we want to change in our product development process? Why are we looking at lean? Why are we looking for the processes which have been successful in different fields? What do we really want to change here? Do we want to eliminate waste? Do we want to increase quality? Do we want to raise efficiency of our product development? Or do we really want to shorten our cycle time? To answer all these questions, let us go back to a more basic question, which is like, why do we really want to do this change? What is compelling us to bring change in the way we are doing the product development today? Definitely to increase profits. Why are we in this business? Why are we making products? Ultimately, it's to increase profits. We want to make profits. We want to earn an edge over our competitors. So that's why we are in the market. That's why we want to stay in the market. So the ultimate aim of us making products and doing product development is to increase profits. How can we use really lean to increase our profits? So here, what my context will be and the scope will be to talk about the economics and the science based on the lean product development process. So lean is much more than that. We have different schools of thought for lean, which includes human behaviors and a lot of other things. But here we'll be talking about the economics and the science behind it. So I'm purely talking from an economic school of thought, and not to forget the mathematics behind it. So some of the principles, important principles of lean product development are the economic view. How does the economics help us to understand what lean product development is? How does it help us to develop our product better? Managing queues, which is a very important factor today in the lean product development. Variability. How can we exploit variability? Batch sizes. What would be the optimal batch sizes we need to have in our product development so that we call it really an optimal batch size? WIP constraints. What are these WIP constraints and why do we need them? Cadence and sequencing, really forming the backbone of product development today. What is it? Why should we do it? And last but not the least, fast feedback. Feedback from our reviewers, feedback from our customers, how important they are, what role they play in the product development today. So coming to the first most important principle, economics. How are we making our economic decisions today? Let's take an example. We always had this inherent belief with ourselves that efficiency is good. Yeah. And somehow, sometimes what we do is we isolate it from the other factors. We only concentrate on that we want higher efficiency. And we forget the other factors which could be influencing them. So in that ignorance, what we do is we sometimes combine this belief that efficiency is good with the blindness to the cues. What happens when we do that? When we try to combine the efficiency with the blindness to the cues, we load our development process to high levels of capacity utilization. We overload our system, we overload our developers, we overload our architects, engineers with high capacity utilization. And we think that's the right way to fight with cues. Because an underutilized resource to us appears to be a waste. Now, what happens when we drive this really high capacity utilization? It causes queues. But these queues are not seen. There is no apparent cost to it. Thus, these two beliefs, when we combine them together, it leads us to a disastrous level of capacity utilization. A very good example of this kind of disastrous level of capacity utilization, what we see every day is the highway, the jam on the highway. So when we see that you have the cars coming to the highway, to some extent, you are able to get them out of the highway. But when it goes beyond a limit, what happens? Everybody gets late. And that's exactly what we are doing with our development process. We try to put in more and more capacity utilization there, and then we have long queues. And what does it mean to have long queues? Well, delays. Delay of our products, delay of our features. So this in turn leads to large queues and long cycle time. So we delay the delivery of our products, delivery of the features to our customers, and we really don't understand why, because we have really put all the efforts there. We are utilizing our capacity to something like 150%. Why is it happening? Let's take another example. We have another belief which we have really inherited for ages, that variability is bad. And we generally take it like as if variability is always bad. And we fail to correctly quantify the economics related to it. Now, when we do that, we will minimize the variability by sacrificing the other unquantified economic goals. How do we do that? Whenever we say we don't want any variability in my process, what I do is I create a risk-averse development process and always insist on do it right the first time. So we always insist on perfect start. We should start a project perfectly, and because we totally want to have a risk-averse environment. In fact, we blindly embrace the concepts like Six Sigma into our product development because we just want to avoid risk. This risk aversion will drive innovation out of our process. And we all know that innovation is the backbone of product development. It is unlike in manufacturing. You don't innovate every day. But in product development, perhaps you have to innovate every day. Every day we will have new things coming up. And we really cannot think that always the variability is bad. So eventually, what we wonder is why our products have no differentiation in compared to our competitors. Why are they gaining over us? And why we are having low profitability there. Again, profit is the goal. So our current belief system incorrectly causes us to choose variability reduction over profitability. So we don't try to get these two factors together. We just say, okay, variability is bad, and we follow that. So yet it deludes us into thinking that we are increasing profits, and actually we are not. So all these factors, efficiency, variability, cycle time, waste, revenue, what are these? These are actually proxy variables. They are not the real things we want to improve. Ultimately, what we want to improve is life cycle profits. That's our ultimate aim. And now these proxy variables, when we look them in isolation, they're not sufficient. So we have to look at them in conjunction to each other. And when we say we have to look at them in conjunction, we need to have a common unit of measurement. Because if we measure efficiency, it will be in another unit. If we measure cycle time, that will be in another unit. So how do we really compare them? We cannot compare them. So we need a common measure, common unit to measure them. What would that be? Let's see how economics can help us in taking those decisions. Let's take another example. Oops. So let's imagine a situation. Should we release our product from the development lab to factory before we have eliminated all the defects? Well, there will be a lot of views supporting this. So most of the time, such kind of questions actually lead to debate in any company. One side, the classical side, will say, no, we have to remove all the defects before my product goes into the factory, period. I have to do everything correctly first, and then send it to the factory, or send it for the manufacturing. Then there is another side, which is more of an agile mindset, and they say, no, we cannot remove all the defects immediately, so let us just send my product to the factory, let them do the manufacturing and get me the defects from there. So who is right? Well, perhaps both of them are right at their places, but let's see how economics plays it. We can find out a solution by quantifying the overall economic effect, because remember, our ultimate aim is to gain profits. So let's ask us a question: what will be the cost difference between correcting a defect on the factory floor and fixing it on the development lab? Let's say a factor of 10. So if I correct a defect in my development, it will cost me, in a factory, it will cost me 10 times more than what I do it in development. Oh, that's logical. Let's get more statistics. How much rework does a typical immature product create on the factory floor? Let's say 20,000 euros. So if I find a defect on the factory floor, it costs me 20,000 euros. So perhaps when I find it in development, it will cost me 2,000 euros, because we have a factor of 10, remember? How much time would it take the development lab to find the same number of defects that we can find in 1 week on the factory floor? So we know that when a product will go in the factory, we will be able to find more number of defects because we have a real environment there. On the other hand, when we do the same testing in development, we might have to simulate the situation, think what could happen, think of the scenarios. So definitely it will be faster, but how much that will be? Let's quantify that. So let's say 5 weeks. So if I find a defect in factory, it'll be 1 week, and if I try to find it in the development lab, maybe it takes 5 weeks. So now we have enough statistics, so we can calculate now from here. An early move to factory saves us 4 weeks of cycle time, but it raises the cost of correcting the defects from 2,000 euros to 20,000 euros. So what do we want to conclude here? The critical question is whether these 4 weeks of cycle time savings will pay for this 18,000 euros of extra cost. Are we able to quantify that? Well, if yes, please push it onto factory floor, because that's helping me make more profits. And otherwise, we do all the testing in the development lab, because that way I make more profits. So it's not about calculating these proxy variables separately, but thinking them together and thinking the total economic impact on it. So what did we notice here? A notable thing to visualize from this example is that economics will be the only thing which we want to quantify, because we want to have a common unit of measure. And that common unit of measure is called cost of delay. So using cost of delay, we can actually quantify all the probabilities of a decision. So what decisions we are taking, it can be very easily based on this one factor. which is connected to the economics. You would be seeing some graphs here. These graphs show the different kind of projects we have and the different kind of cost of delay associated with these projects. So when you talk about the expedite project, so we have a project which we need to address immediately, or for that matter, even some features, we need to address it immediately. What will be the cost of delay? If I don't do it today, I better not do it. Because you have it has anyway costed you that kind of money. So say, I can give you an example from the real life. For example, there is a patient in critical situation. And if the doctor doesn't treat him at that time, it makes no sense doing anything after that. Because it doesn't matter how knowledgeable the doctor is and how good he is, he can't save him if he doesn't save him now. So that is the kind of projects we call it expedite project. Then you have standard projects. So your standard projects like constructing a building or a railway or any those kind of projects for that matter, they will have a standard cost of delay. So as you delay it, you have more cost. So, but that's a standard one. Then you have fixed date cost projects like, for example, you have a regulation to be introduced at a particular interval of time. If we do our project before that, it makes no sense. So we are just unnecessarily creating inventory. But if we don't do it at that particular time, when this regulation is released, then it becomes expedite. So we have to really respond to that project or respond to that feature just in time. Then we have other projects which are intangible or features which are intangible, which might not incur any cost right now, but gradually, if we don't act on it, they will cost us a lot. A very good example from current practices is when we automate our testings. Because if we don't do that now, we will pay for it sometime later. So right now we won't realize that we need to automate our stuff, but gradually we will do that. And there will be one time where we'll have to pay a huge amount of cost there. So these kind of projects, this is the way we can really classify and prioritize our features, our projects, and our activities to do different product development processes, Okay, coming to the next very important principle, managing queues. Okay, what are these queues? Why are we ignorant to these queues? Let's see. Queues causes our development process to have too much of design in process inventory. When we have queues, we try to design a lot of things together, and then we have a lot of design in process inventory. But why are we so ignorant about it? I mean, we know that we are doing this design in process. Why are we so ignorant about it? Why can't we see it? Well, actually, we can't see it. That's the problem. This design in process inventory is not financially visible in product development. Unlike manufacturing, whenever you have an inventory, it's visible. But design in process inventory or the inventory in product development is not visible. For that matter, if you go to a finance guy and ask him what is the inventory in product development, he will say 0, because there is nothing he can see. So we do not carry these partially completed designs as assets on our balance sheets. Where are they? They are actually lying on the disk space, accumulating the bits and bytes, and we have huge disks, so it's no problem to keep them there. But this is not visible in the assets in our balance sheet. Design in process inventory is information and not really physical objects, and that's what I said. So it's not visible. So here we a little divert from what we see in manufacturing. We were able to see this inventory in manufacturing, so we could really clear that up. But here it's not visible. We do not see piles of WIP when we walk through the engineering department. Do we see that? No. We don't see designs lying somewhere on the on the side of the room or something. No, we don't do that. And that's why we don't know where they are, and we don't know if they really exist. But what happens when we don't know that? We end up increasing capacity utilization. The more amount of queues we have, more capacity utilization. This comes from the queuing theory. The more you increase queues, the more you increase the design in process inventory, more capacity utilization is increased. And what happens? Vice versa. We increase the capacity utilization, we increase queues. So it's a vicious circle. One leads to the other. So you can see when we go from 70 to 80% and 80 to 90% of capacity utilization, we dramatically increase this queue size. So a queue size increases, whenever we have this queue size increases, we say, oh, we have a lot of work to finish, let's put more capacity there. And in turn, what we do, we increase more queue. And then, we're never able to end it up. So this increased capacity utilization, what happens when we increase the capacity utilization beyond our limits? I mean, our engineers, our developers, they are working 150% of their time. What do we do at the end? We remove their flexibility completely. And then, when we don't have this flexibility anymore, what happens? In an unpredictable environment of product development, they have no bandwidth to do anything else. They are completely gone out of innovation. They are not flexible to, bring some design changes or which would be required. But we just want to finish our stuff, which we have, piled up for days or months. So how can we reduce these queue size, which are very dangerous because they are not even visible? We can control the capacity utilization. If we control the capacity utilization, these queues will automatically come down. And what could be the best way to control capacity utilization? Well, it will be to limit the work in progress. That's a very typical way we use in Lean to control to manage queues. For this one of our scientists, mathematician, has given a very good law, which we call as Little's law. It's a very famous law, which says that as my work in process increases, my lead time increases. So as I increase my work in process, as I increase this inventory, I delay my feature, I delay my product. So this lead time increases. So I have to make a balance where I want to make it optimal. So WIP constraints exploit the direct relationship between the cycle time and the inventory. So inventory here is work in process. This is how we're using it today in our product development processes. A very good method, technique, tool in Lean development is Kanban, which helps us put the WIP limits on our workflows and help us visualize how my product development goes through different stages. And this is a good statistics taken from the Kanban, which can help us see if I increase the WIP, I have this much of lead time and so on and so forth, and how I can improve upon that. So with that, we come to a very next important topic, and I will say the most debatable one is exploiting variability. Yeah, well, it says we cannot add value without adding variability, but we can add variability without adding value. So definitely, if we want to add value, it will automatically add variability to my product development. Why do I want to add value? Well, because I want to make profits. And without variability, there is no way to innovate. Let's take an example. I have a project in the beginning. I say for a particular feature, it will take 2 weeks for me, and it is important for 50% of my customers. Well, fair enough. I start with that. Gradually, after 1 week, I realized that this feature is going to take 2 months. And now it's not even important for 1% of my customer. What will I do? Will I continue with my project plan? Well, that's quite insane to do. So I need to bring that variability. Otherwise, I just don't catch up. I just don't innovate. I just don't bring these new ideas. And also, what we are interested in is not variability. We are not talking about variability is good or variability is bad. But what about the economics of the variability? Let's understand what change I want to bring. How is it affecting me economically? Is it bringing me profit? Is it not bringing me profit? Is it bringing me loss? But that's what we have to visualize, and not really saying generally variability is not good. Also for a reason that product development produces the recipes of the product and not really the product themselves. Again, unlike manufacturing, in manufacturing, if you have a product and you make, if you have a product and you make another product, well, it's adding value, but it's not making change. We are not changing the product. We are just producing the same product again and again, and we are still adding value. But that's not the case in product development. In product development, if we want to make something new, we just cannot repeat the old stuff. We need to make changes in the design. We need to be innovative. We need to bring some changes which are better than the competitors, that I can sell and that I can rely on. So what's important for me when I want to change this design? I'm introducing uncertainty and variability. And at that point, I need to understand whether this change in my product, is it economically viable? Well, we can check it with the factor of cost of delay. Is it getting me money today, tomorrow, or how is it going to be? So what is the economics behind it? That's what we want to understand. So that's what we will base our decisions on. Yeah, so variability is everywhere, and we should actually embrace variability rather than being hostile to it, because we see even the nature around us is variable, and we should work to get the good variability out of it and remove the bad variability. So we cannot eliminate all the variability without eliminating all the value added to it. There is a very good example of removing bad variability. For example, I see that every time I change a feature, I have to test the whole stuff again. Then why not really automate it? So that's a very good way of reducing variability, which we took from manufacturing. Do a repetitive work. So what do we do in regressions? We do a repetitive work. We make a feature, we run it through the regression, and we do the testing, and we don't have to do that manually all the time. And what does that do? That reduces that bad variability in my product, which I don't see. There's another way of doing reducing variability, to push it to a very low-cost area. So so I can give an example. For example, in the air traffic control, there are two ways. We see often that there is congestion. There are a lot of airlines, they are waiting to land, and there are a lot of them waiting to take off. Now, there can be two ways to manage this. Either they can have these landing flights circling around in the air, or they can have them delayed from the point of leaving, or they can make them wait, on the ground. Now, which one is cheapest? Definitely making them wait on the ground. So in this way, we have reduced the variability to a place where it costs less. And that's what we are looking for, even in product development, that we should try to move this variability where it costs the least. So something which we cannot finish altogether, we move it to a low-cost place. Okay, I personally call this as the backbone in the product development. Delivering on cadence and synchronization. Cadence-based planning and the delivery, it limits the variability to a single interval. Now that means whenever we have huge batches of a project to be delivered, what happens? It really gives us huge variability. On the other hand, if we are delivering small packets or small batches regularly in cadence, what happens? This variability greatly reduces. And that's what we see here. So when we have a large packet to deliver or a large batch to deliver, we have huge deviation. So that is a variation which we have in our project. But for the small ones, we have small project deviations. Let's take an example how that works. Why, when we deliver on cadence, small batches, it really works. In many companies, let's say, manufacturing wants to receive a fully completed design from engineering. So they say that you finish the whole design and then we will take it for manufacturing. Okay, fair enough. They tell the engineering that they don't want to see any engineering drawings until the engineering has stopped changing the designs. So you can finish your stuff and give it to us then. So once all these drawings are once all these drawings are created, they are all reviewed in one huge batch. So let's say we have 200 drawings to be reviewed and 200 drawings further going to the manufacturing. And so you can think they will be reviewed in one day. And companies think that perhaps that is good because they will have a complete view of the system and then it's easy to visualize and easy to review. But remember, these 200 drawings were not made in one day. If they had been made in one day, it was good to review them in one day. But unfortunately, it's not the case. They may have been completed over a 10-week period, for example. So what our engineers, architects did, they completed 20 drawings in the first week and maybe 20 later and so on and so forth, taking an ideal case. So we have the first 20 drawings which were completed in the first week, and now what? They had to wait for 9 weeks to be reviewed. What happened during these 9 weeks? So if an engineer has made a bad assumption in one of the first 20 drawings, then what will happen? Then that bad assumption will go unchallenged until the final review. So it will go and hit the other 180 drawings as well. So the problem he created in the 20 drawings will appear in the other 180 drawings as well. Now what we can do in making the situation better is that we can break these drawings review into small batches, and we can improve upon the review process, and then in turn definitely we improve the quality, efficiency, and cycle time of it. And what happens when we do the review in the complete batch? We are not able to if we do it in small batches, we will be perhaps able to find this flaw in the beginning itself, and that will be corrected. So we save a lot of effort there, we save a lot of money, and then, in the end we make money out of that. But how do we prevent all these small review meetings? A very obvious question which comes from the companies, oh, you are asking for a meeting every week? Come on, that's going to cost us a lot. That's going to be a huge overhead. Maybe an hour from my architect will be gone. But let's look at it this way. If we don't plan this meeting every week, we plan them once, and we say, let's keep it on cadence. So, for example, every Wednesday afternoon, 1 p.m., we review all the drawings which are completed in 1 week. So everybody knows it now. So you don't have to prepare for the meeting every time. You don't have to announce the meeting every time. You don't have to, do the setup of the meeting every time. So there will be no need of the meeting announcement and no need of coordinating schedules if we have these meetings on cadence. So we fix one time. I mean, that's a very regular practice, as you know, in agile project development. We have daily stand-up at a fixed time, at a fixed place, and everybody knows they have to come there. And so let's have that kind of a review meeting in this case as well. So meetings that are synchronized to a regular and predictable cadence have very low setup cost because, you have to do it just once. And it has a lot of advantages. They contribute to very little excess overhead. So what we understand from here, that when we are delivering small batches in cadence, what we improve there? We improve the quality of the product. We improve the efficiency there. We reduce the rework, which our architects have to do perhaps on a large batch size. And on top of everything, we get the feedback from the customer. We get the feedback from the reviewer, which is the most important thing in any kind of product development, because we want to understand what the customer wants in the end. And if he doesn't get what he wants, well, he might not never come back to us. So this is a quick example of what happens when we don't take the feedback from the customer. So you can see the first picture. I can do it. Yeah. So the first picture, this is how my customer explained I want the product. And this is how the project leader understood it. And the analyst designed it, and the programmer wrote it. And the business consultant, wow, they always do it like this. They explain it very nicely. We had no documentation for the project. The operations were installed like this. And how did we build a customer? Oops, huge. How was the project supported? And what did the customer actually want? He wanted something else. So when we will deliver all this to him, he'll say, no, that's not what I wanted. On the other hand, if we take a regular feedback from him on small times and we show him the product rather than really showing him the documents, well, documents would be perfectly correct. But then that's not the product. Are we able to really translate them into the product? Well, yeah, maybe, maybe not. But instead of that, if we really show him the product, how will he feel? I said, no, this is not what I wanted, but maybe I wanted something else. And that's how we can correct it. So it's a regular cycle, and that's how we gain more from our customer. He has more confidence in us, and he sees that, yeah, they're building it. And he will gradually gain more confidence into us. That's why I said the fast feedback is the most important part of product development. So coming to the last part of this presentation, we have seen these principles, we have looked into them, we have understood what these principles are. But now the next and most important question is, how do we really apply these principles? Do we have something which is available to us, which we can use to apply these principles? Well, yes. There are a lot of frameworks which are available in the industry today, which can be used to apply these principles. One of the most popular and proven one I have found so far is Scaled Agile Framework. So this supports all the principles which are needed for lean product development, including exploiting variability, delivering on cadence, and fast feedback. So all those principles are catered in Scaled Agile Framework. And yeah, if anybody wants more details about it, then I can support that. Sorry?
I've seen that enterprise architects being active in our company, but I never seen these epic owners.
Yeah, these are specific terminology. If you want, we can talk about this specifically. And also, I want to clear one myth about this framework. A lot of companies, a lot of people think that it is only meant for software, but that's not true. It actually gives you a complete system view, and also follows a lean system engineering. And so it's actually usable for complete systems. Okay, then to conclude the presentation, what happens a lot of times, what we do is we try to find answers to our questions in our comfort zone, and we think we will be able to do that. I mean, I'm not criticizing, but since we all knew Six Sigma practices for ages, and we know that it worked, we thought it will be working in product development as well. So we try to look for the solution of our problems in product development into Six Sigma. So that's what I said. We tend to look for the answers where looking is good, where we are able to look, and not really where they're actually hiding. So it's like we are like a drunk under the lamppost who's looking for his keys where the light is best, and not where he forgot it, where he lost it. So the idea is we should look at it where these problems are really hiding. And economics, science, and maths gives us a framework to understand these problems from the core. Because these sciences, they have been universally true, and their principles are universally applicable. So when we try to find out the solutions there, we are definitely able to find them. So all we need to do is we need to shift our focus and put it at the right place where the solution lies. Yeah, in the end, we still have a long way to go. Any questions?
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you very much. We have good time for questions.
Yeah.
You talked a few times about efficiency.
Yes.
And I was surprised by that you used efficiency in the design and in development rather than effectiveness.
So we do need effectiveness.
Yeah, but you didn't use the word one time. Can you explain a little bit why you focus on efficiency and not on effectiveness?
Because when we talk about efficiency, we're actually talking about capacity utilization. How much a person can work, how much overtime we can get out of that person, how much we can overburden that person. So we're talking about efficiency in that terms. While when we talk about effectiveness, what is the outcome? We're talking about the outcome, what we deliver. We are talking about the outcome which would be based on the economic decisions. That will be effectiveness. Effectiveness of my product. Effectiveness of my product is liked by the customer. That will be effectiveness. And that is always needed. I mean, that is something which we always want in our product. We want it to be effective. We want it to be effective in the markets. We want it to be effective as compared to our competitors. But efficiency, when we say efficiency, it's a misnomer. We confuse it with the capacity utilization, and that was the reason I brought it there. So, okay.
Other questions? I have a question on examples. Do you have examples within Philips where you can really clearly see that this works? So it didn't work, changed of method, and it worked.
I can a lot of them work in Aachen, in City Touch. So we do have agile software development following Scrum there, and yeah, a lot of things work there. And unfortunately, I cannot find examples from the rest of Europe because I work there. And if you want, I can share those examples with you. Maybe you can come down to Aachen and see it for yourself. That's the best thing. Yeah. Yeah.
The principle I had last few slides about shifting your focus. If everyone was shifting its focus in a different direction, I don't think we will ever become effective. So who are we going to do that? How should we do that?
Well, it has to come from the leadership, for sure. For sure. I mean, we always think that the bottom-up things work. Yes, they do work. But then the leadership has to understand it. The strategy comes from the leadership. If they won't give a strategy to go ahead, we just can't do it. No matter how good practices we have at the team levels, at the bottom of the curve or pyramid, whatever you can say, until unless we have a go ahead from the leadership, it just won't work.
Are teams working for that?
Sorry?
Are some teams working for that?
Our leadership has to work for that.
That's not my question.
So the leadership has to work for that. The teams cannot do that. The awareness and the willingness has to come from there. Do I answer your question?
Yes, it's then still very open. I'm not aware of what's going on there.
They need to align.
You expect there will come some shift of our focus.
I'm sorry?
You expect some shift of our focus then going?
I think what we need to do is at the team level or at the lowest level is to bring awareness, and that's what I'm trying to do here.
Okay.
As much as awareness we can bring, and perhaps we don't even know that we are doing it wrongly, you know. And so we have to bring awareness. We have to bring education. So if we have people who already know these things, they should just spread it around. And once you start spreading it around, the leadership will get a bell ringing somewhere, for sure. Yeah.
One remark. Who is capable of deciding whether it is good to wait with production or to develop still some time and to get some faults out of the design? Because in complex products you have also something like approbation. It means if you push too hard, you are producing a product and afterwards you have to reapprobate So it's very complex. Who is capable of deciding? It's very interesting what you're telling, but we need very competent people who oversee not only development, but also approbation, manufacturing, purchasing components, everything.
Yeah, so that's one part of it. How we can really cater to that. When I said we should have economics as the basis of all these decision making, and when we go back to cost of delay, what does this cost of delay actually consist of? It consists of basically three parts. One is the user value or the business value added to it. One is the risk reduction. The other is the time criticality. We really need to work on these three things. Definitely our business analysts, our product marketing, our program managers should know, or rather should be able to at least estimate. We are not talking about the actual calculations or the correct work, but even if we are estimating it, we are quite close to it. Rather than just doing everything blindly, we should try to estimate it. And maybe, have these people sitting in a room together and debate about it, and give them points that, okay, I think this is 5 times risk reduction than this feature. Okay, we give a 0.5 to it. So this is one of the ways to do it. There could be other ways to do it. So now that is like how we want to do it. Once we have decided that this is what we want to do it, we can do it in different ways. This was one way which I explained it to you. And one very important thing is alignment, which I did not cover here. But if we don't have alignment between the top management and the managers and the team, then it's difficult to. In fact, what I show over here, this framework, it works at 3 levels, so team level, program level, and portfolio level. And we talk about the interaction between them. We talk about the alignment between them. And you can see these lean agile leaders are at the core of it. So they should drive it, and there should be alignment right from the top level to the bottom level. Like you said, they should be knowing about the manufacturing, they should be knowing about the procurement. Yeah, definitely. Not everybody can know everything, but we can get them together. So if we can really get them together to discuss these things, well, it will work.
From time to time, I think everybody is working for its own business. The development is working for development, manufacturing.
Yeah, so we should, yeah.
And then the problem is you cannot coordinate it.
We are part of the big Philips, and we should try to work together for Philips, and not really, our own department or our own organization. It will not work that way, for sure. So it is a change of mindset needed by all, and not really few people. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. I know this agile and DSS. Be careful in saying that DSS was not a success in our company.
I never said it was not a success.
It's not well implemented, so be careful.
Well, I am very small in front of Six Sigma, to tell you very frankly. It is a very effective process, but not in product development.
In your opinion, I now ask your opinion, on slide. If this will this work, or will this lean in product development work? If the product development is close to the factories, or is it okay that we are so far away from factories?
Alignment. You need alignment.
So development in the factories.
Yes.
But that's not the operating model that we're going for in Philips. Do you realize that?
So we have to change our focus. That's what I'm aiming at.
It's not too late.
Sorry?
It's too late. Then you
well,
send the story to Frank.
Better to be late than never, right?
Might be true in your case, but I don't know. We are going to.
Well, you don't. We don't.
We have not into control for most of our parts that we're producing.
That's another mistake. That's another mistake when we try to outsource most of the things. When we try to move away from the co-located teams, it's a problem, and it adds to the problems.
But you also say we need to shift focus. We need to do that.
And that's why.
Then we need to adapt this story to this situation we have, and not change the situation to what we want.
That's where I said that the leaders should come.
They will not change. This is where they go. Everybody will go.
Then nothing can happen. If they will not change, nothing will happen. I'm pretty sure of that.
They will say the same as I do. change the story to the situation, the business.
It will not work.
currently has.
It will not work. I had a very nice pictures to show, but it's not in this presentation. Yeah, it's in the PDF. Yes. So yeah, it doesn't work. We have seen it's not working. Have we not? Yeah.
So the comment that you just made about it does not work if you are outsourcing most of your activities,
Mm-hmm.
I think I completely disagree with it.
Mm-hmm.
I think what you should know is where do you add value? What is it that you are really competent in? And if you do not outsource, I can give you like Boeing, for example, it outsources most of its component for the aircrafts that it makes. But it's very particular about the specifications that it requires from its suppliers. And it's doing a very good job. Right? But so you outsource what you cannot do well, but where you should do where you add value.
But we need alignment, and that's what I'm talking about.
So to that, I don't think you need to have product development at the factory site. Alignment is important, but you can do product development.
Yeah. So as long as you can have a way to align,
Yeah.
it's perfectly fine
Yeah.
to have distributed teams. But we should understand that you really need to work that out. And if you see really two distributed team working and two co-located team working, you will understand the difference.
Right, no, I agree. But on the
Yeah.
outsourcing part, I still think,
Well, when I say distributed, I mean it includes outsourcing.
okay.
So when I talk about distributed teams, so one team can be in India, one team can be in the US, one team can be in Eindhoven.
Yeah.
That's what I meant by distributed teams.
Okay.
You need to pay extra attention for the alignment of these teams.
Right.
And if you're able to do that, perhaps it will work. But when we talk about the quality, on the other hand, if you see, there have been companies who have totally changed their architecture of their buildings just to make all these teams sitting together.
Not needed. In one of those buildings.
Yes, because they know, this also comes from the lean manufacturing. We have these 7 types of waste. Transport is one of the waste. Moving even from one building to the other, maybe this person will totally avoid going to discuss some design issues because he has to go there. And if you talk about distributed teams...
The compass isn't lean then, is what you're saying, because I see 3 buildings all the time.
Yeah. And on top of it, if you're talking about...
Our leadership missed the real story about lean. That's then what I challenge you.
Exactly.
They missed it somewhere.
They missed it completely.
Now, okay.
But even the same buildings will not help. It's the change in mindset that you require rather than having the...
See, I said no, it does. It does. It does change. Why are we using all these whiteboards now and why not the earlier way? Because the moment you put it on the whiteboard and put it on the side of your wall where you are working, it makes it more visual. And people respond to that more frequently. I've seen people who hate going into Jira and seeing this board instead of this whiteboard. They just love it. They can see there is a red mark there. Oh, that's a bigger problem. Let's address that first. Well, so those are the things. And when coming back to the distributed teams, we even have the time differences. When you can imagine a person doesn't want to go from one building to the other to discuss problem, how can you imagine him doing it on the email and that too in a different time zone? Maybe he just, okay, forget it, let's do it like this. Well, what are we losing? We are losing innovation. We are losing profits. So it's not that we cannot do it, we can definitely do it.
So your suggestion is that all the product development should be in one country rather than have it in this.
Well, ideally saying yes, but there are situations where it is not possible. And in those situations, we should really work on alignment. Maybe get these people together once a year, or once in 6 months, and if possible, once in 3 months. This guy, he talks about alignment throughout your project, once in a 3 months. And this alignment means not only at team level, he also wants to include the higher management, the leaders. Come and give us the vision. We don't even know what we are doing. You should tell us. You should tell us the strategy. So those kind of alignment we need to bring in the company or for a particular program. Then it works well.
And that comes top down.
It has to be driven top down.
think there's another question there. Maybe you can discuss a little bit more afterwards.
Okay, yeah.
The question, I'm not from development, so I do not want to upset anybody with any because you have explicit opinions. If I understand you well, development creates consistently new recipes. So they are cooking book inventors.
Exactly.
One of the biggest ways, because I come from manufacturing environment, is to produce products which you cannot sell.
Yes.
How many of the recipes we have ready actually have no demand?
To add to what you are saying, I fully agree with you. I have nothing against it. To rather support it, I will say today, 65% of the features developed are never used by the customers. Why are we developing it? That's a waste. That's a huge waste.
The features, but also complete recipes.
Perhaps complete products, yes. Yes.
Customers don't even want to buy it, so you see a lot of new products, which under a lot of pressure of capacity had to be developed, which sell nothing.
Why do you think that's happening? You tell me.
I think we are misaligned with product management, development, and the market.
And we are misaligned with the customer.
Yeah, for sure, the market, the customer.
You answered it. So we need feedback. He said something a year ago, the market, maybe we need something like this. Okay, yeah. Now the project manager is after it, and he will just get something out and give it to them. And then they realize, oh, we did not need it, but this is too late now.
Agree. But
why not have a feedback?
We go back to the kitchen. We will take care of the recipe.
So the idea is that we should get customer into the discussion. And I've heard people saying that, oh, the customer doesn't have time. I'm surprised to hear that. If he can give you so much of money to develop a product, why will he not have time to look at it? He definitely will have time. Did you really like to talk to him? Did you try to talk to him? Well, that's where we are missing. We need alignment. Yes.
I have one more question here, I think, before we close the session, and maybe we can discuss afterwards, but then we can close it to most people.
Yeah.
So
I want to remark, coming back on the efficiency, effectiveness.
Yeah.
And then also some question to you. First of the effectiveness, you mentioned yourself. Effectiveness is not at the end, but also at the beginning, to select priorities and to getting them in. And the efficiency, what you mentioned, is merely the framework.
It is merely the capacity utilization. Yeah. Okay.
So this is one of the framework. It's agile with it in project management and in software is very applicable and used. There is another framework that's called the lean thinking lean design thinking. Have you ever heard of it? And did you also consider that as another one which, to my opinion, is much more applicable for product development rather than agile?
Yes. So there is another model from the same framework, which is SAFE LSE. So that is Lean System Engineering, which is a totally different. If I have it, I can quickly show it as well.
we have to close down in 1 minute.
Yeah, okay. Just show it to him and he'll be happy. Say it's lse.com. So here, what we are doing is we are considering the whole system from a lean system engineering perspective. And it also includes, if you see here, it doesn't only talk about the software teams included in the system, it also talks about hardware teams perhaps following Kanban or things like that. And moreover, it's just a framework. It says what we should have, how you want to do it.
I like to challenge you that this is not the best framework for product development. There are better frameworks like design thinking.
Definitely it could be.
Then I can also promote it, but I think for product development, it's a better way. This lean adds more to software and to manufacturing rather than to product development.
If you think, I mean, as I said, this is just one of the frameworks. There are a lot of other frameworks available. I would really like to see that as well. If you can just forward me the link. Okay, great. Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying that this is the only one. Definitely, we have more.
Just one question.
Yeah.
Are you aligned with the ITRM program, the expert ITRM program online?
I have heard about it, and Yeah, I know some people who are doing it, but I don't, not really aligned, I will say. I know it from Case, who has been leading the Lean I2M initiative. I think Case Lipotter. Case Lipotter. I have talked to him. He's working on some initiatives in Lean, as in Kaizen and things like that. And but that is all. I don't. If you can guide me for that, then maybe I would want to be involved.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think with this we conclude this session. Thank you again also for the audience.
Just one last statement I would like to mention. If anybody is interested in having more questions answered, just drop me an email. We can also discuss things if you want to. And also about this framework, if anybody wants to talk about it or understand any part of it, or for the other want any kind of training, or want the team to be trained or something, I can do that. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.